welcome to the Unlist. In particular, the Winter Roundup for 2023, the final video of the year for this channel. So one thing I decided back when I first converted this channel to fragrance content is that I would bow out the last month of the year, which is December, and enjoy the holiday season. Because this time of year is typically the time of year when views and interactions really plummet the most. This and the summertime, so late summer when everyone is gone on vacation, and this time of year when everyone is busy Christmas shopping or traveling for the holidays are the two worst times for making content. And I'm not going to take a vacation in the summer because the summer months are really hot and miserable, and what am I going to do besides be hot and miserable, right? So stay inside under the AC and try and forget about it being 105 degrees outside. So the wintertime felt like a much better time of year for me to take that long needed break from what I do regularly. And thus the last month of the year is when I will do that. I will enjoy my holidays, and I will see all of you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in 2024 for winter-related fragrance content. But as a proper send-off, I would do a winter roundup where I discuss everything I felt like I did right in the year leading up to, and then everything I think I need to do for the next year. Plus, before I see you off, I will give you a small unlist of holiday fragrance recommendations. So now let's get started. Well, since this is the first winter roundup, and I've only had the channel for maybe a year, it's more of a channel roundup than it is a year roundup, since I can't really talk about what I haven't done in the year prior. I can't really focus on 2023 since this entire channel's existence is so far within 2023. So with that being said, I think, I've set out to do most of the things I wanted to do with this channel upon its inception, and that was to deliver content that's unlike what anyone else is doing. And I've been told multiple times that I am doing something that no one else is doing, for better or for worse, not always for good. Some folks are a little bit like, yeah, what is this crap? You're doing these videos about what it would be like to buy fragrances 100 years ago. Who cares about that? We want more top 10 lists. We want more recommendations. We want to know how to slim our waistlines. We want to know how to dress. We want to know what watches to match with our shirts. That's what we want. And I'm like, I don't care what you want. You're getting what I give you, or you're going away from the table hungry, okay? You'll be sent to bed without supper. That's how I play. This is my house, okay? I'm not locked in here with y'all. Y'all are locked in here with me. Don't get it twisted. So, in that case, I think I've done what I set out to do. I've really made a channel that is doing things that either nobody wants to do because they see no point in it, or things that people wouldn't dare do because they'd be afraid of the backlash. They'd be afraid of the consequences of saying the quiet part out loud. And I am all about saying the quiet part out loud. And that is why I do the long form deep dive videos on one fragrance, because people concerned about metrics and concerned about success don't do those. That is why I do the videos about individual perfume materials or individual categories of fragrance, because the people say we can't do that, since if we do that, people will yawn and tune out because all they want to know is what the latest hotness is. All they want to know, does it give compliments? All they want to know, is it expensive? Does it contain all naturals? We don't want to know which naturals it has. We just want to know if it's all natural or not, because that tickles our little artisanal niche pickle, okay? It makes us feel good about ourselves, about blowing $500 on this bottle because it's all natural. That's what we care about. Confirmation bias is what most YouTube channels deliver you. They tailor themselves to what they think their audience wants, and they deliver the confirmation bias. They don't give them new information. They don't challenge them. They don't offer alternatives. They give them what they already know, what they already expect. And I don't do that. Clearly, I don't do that. So I think I've been very successful at staying away from that. That's why this channel is called the Unlist. You don't get top 10 lists. You don't get top 3 lists. You don't get lists, period, with a T, period. No lists, okay? Not getting them. Now, variety is the spice of life, which I try to give. And of course, I also try to do something that no one else will do, and that's hold a mirror up to the community itself. Another thing is no one wants to talk about the fragrance community. Everyone's too scared. They're afraid of getting canceled. They're afraid of people unsubscribing. Well, I have the luxury of not being here for profit. I have the luxury of not being here for popularity. So if I feel like addressing the elephant in the room, I'm not scared that elephant pulls out a knife and tries to shank me. I don't care. I will battle that elephant tooth and nail. It's going to lose, let me tell you. Every time. It's going down. Because if I make a video that I feel like needs to be made, if I talk about a certain behavior in the fragrance community, or I talk about a certain kind of person, or a certain mindset, right? And I draw a light to it, I turn the rock and shine a flashlight right underneath the rock. If I do that, and the claws come out, guess what happens? I don't battle. I don't argue. I just go remove content, block a person from further comments. That's it. You can criticize because I'm criticizing constructively. You can say you disagree, right? Respectfully, because I'm not attacking you. So not a single damn person should ever feel like I'm personally calling them out, because I'm not. Never, never, never. So when you do that, when you put on the Mike Tyson gloves and you try and come and bite my ear off and box me up, I just do like V for Vendetta, right? McCready, I put the black bag over your head and I disappear you off my channel. That's it. This is not a democracy. Okay? You don't get a fair say. So this is my house. Once again, you're locked in here with me, all right? So you got to play by playhouse rules, or Pee-wee rolls you up into a ball and throws you out the window. That's what happens to you. So, but like I said, I will entertain criticism if it's delivered in a way that's socially acceptable, right? So that's the thing. And I'm going to continue doing that because, again, no one's really doing that. No one is really making videos about the community, both positive and negative. I've done very, very positive remarks about things. I've talked about the difference between tastemakers versus gatekeepers. I've talked about influencers, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all sides of influencers, how they have a benefit, how they don't have a benefit. I try to be as straight about it as I can be, all right? I don't put a spin on it. I try to put a spin on it, give my opinion, but that's it. And I will continue doing that. What I feel like I could stand to do more of, now that I've talked about what I think I've accomplished, I feel like I could stand to do more variety of backgrounds. This, completely empty void here, this has become a go-to location for me because it's easy. And I can't really go into the reasons why it's easy. But now there are a bunch of other locations just like this one that I can also use. And I should probably start using them. Maybe it's still going to be a blank wall, but it'll be a different colored wall. Maybe you'll get to look at the Puget Sound. Maybe you'll get to look at the forests of Bellevue. Maybe you'll get to look at wherever I happen to be. But this has become a convenient location for me because I don't have to hold the camera. I can sit the camera up and walk around like this. And that's kind of why I've defaulted to this. But I know this is kind of boring. And y'all are probably getting tired of seeing this formless, shapeless void behind me. So maybe I should do a little more scenery, right? Likewise, I should probably talk a little more about feminine market fragrances. Now, I know all fragrances are unisex, blah, blah, blah. Okay, not arguing that. The only thing I'm saying is that if the perfume was created with a particular market in mind, it was designed to sell to women, designed to sell to men, even if we think it suits us, it still belongs to that market. And I have by far focused much more on the men's market, vintage and modern, and artisanal and niche and drugstore and whatever. I have only really touched a little bit on women's fragrances, and I should do a little more about that. I should talk a little more about classic women's aldehyde fragrances, classic orientals like Taboo, about how women's fragrances have evolved a long time, just the same way men's have. Talk about the evolution of fruity florals from stuff like Cristal and Fiji, all the way up to today's modern fruity florals like A La Rose or C by Emporio Armani, all that stuff, right? That should get a little more screen time, and I will endeavor to do that in 2024 since I feel like it's only fair. Lastly, holiday recommendations. Holiday fragrances for the last leg of 2023. Well, for me personally, Christmas time is not altogether unlike Halloween and Thanksgiving in terms of the theme of fragrances that contrast the cold air. The biggest takeaway is that the aesthetic is different. So, this first months of fall, when it's still kind of, sort of jacket weather outside, and it doesn't really dip below freezing, it just gets a little bit chilly maybe at night, that's when I break into all the petrichor stuff and all the green stuff, dry leaves, composty stuff, yatagan, and all those leathery, dry green fragrances. Then once we move into November, right, that's when I go, okay, now it's time for spices. Now it's time for tobacco fragrances. Now it's time for all of that cozy warm apple pie type stuff. As we get into Christmas and the holiday season and temperatures regularly dip below freezing and it becomes cold enough outside that you need a full-on coat, a jacket no longer does. Jacket no longer suits. That's when I start breaking out the fragrances that are particularly musky or particularly ambery or particularly sweet. So you know me, I'm not a big gourmand fan, and I'm not a big ethyl maltol fan either. But, and I've said this many times, I've said it in live streams, I've said it when I've been featured as a guest on other people's platforms, that there are fragrances I normally wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, but I will reach for when it is really cold outside, because that, to me, is the only time when they are actually good, right? So even though I'm like, Eros, no. 1 million, no. But December, January, yes, yes, yes. Because I feel like those fragrances, even though they are designed for clubbing and for sexiness and for youthful, whatever appeal, regardless of how old you are, they really, really shine in the cold weather, because certain aspects of them that you don't notice in a hot, sweaty club where they get really cloying and nasty, right? Wearing 1 million or whatever, or Eros or something, or Baccarat Rouge to a club is horrible. It's suffocating. But if it's like 30 degrees outside, below freezing, and there's frost on the ground, they take on an entirely different personality. And that is when my tune actually changes. And I go, okay, you know what? Wear the Eros, wear the 1 million, wear the Baccarat Rouge, okay? Wear the Stronger With You. Those fragrances kick ass in the cold. And there's a certain, round warmth to them, with the sweetness, with the amber, with the tonka, with the ooey gooey tonka, with the ethyl maltol. A certain warm sweetness that really, really contrasts the bitter, cold, windy, lip chapping, chap lipping, whatever. Really, really works in that particular context, okay? With a, maybe you've got something like a scarf wrapped around your neck, or you've got one of those hats with the flappy ear things. Those fragrances work really well. So for the holiday of 2023, I will say, despite your better angels, break out the 1 million, break out the Eros, break out the Baccarat Rouge, break out the Bad Boy, break out the Stronger With You, all those really heavy, sweet Tonka Bomb fragrances. They work really well in the cold. That's the only time you will ever see me recommend you that stuff. But if you don't want to touch that stuff because your principles get in the way, I get it. Some of us have scruples. I don't. Some of us do. I've got other alternatives for you. One fragrance I think works really, really well this time of year. In particular, well, obviously, this is kind of a no-brainer, but sweet tobacco fragrances. And I don't mean stuff like 1 million, I mean proper tobacco fragrances, okay? Stuff like London by Burberry, 2005, I think that came out. It has port wine notes, it has tobacco, it has spices like cinnamon. It is really just cozy holiday living room. It is Cozy Holiday Living Room, the fragrance. It even has a little sweater on it. It shows you. It shows you just how holiday it is. It has the little ugly sweater, the ugly Christmas. You only wear them at Christmas time, these ugly sweaters. It has the ugly sweater already on the bottle. So it's telling you, I am made for December. Wear me in December. Burberry London, December fragrance. Wear it, love it. Come back to me later and tell me what you think. But I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it. Likewise, stuff like, this is an artisanal pick. This is an indie perfume pick, but Devil's Share by Darren Allen. Smells really good this time of year. It's thick, rich, woody notes. It's got cocoa in it. It's got wood staves from oak barrels in it, bourbon oak barrels. It's got tobacco. It's got musk. It's got actually a very downplayed animalic musk in this fragrance. You wouldn't think so, but it does. So it's a little more animalic than most fragrances in this category, but it is very different, very unique, very good. Devil's Share by Darren Allen Perfumery. Check it out. Likewise, I would say fragrances like Jacques Fath Pour L'Homme, sadly discontinued, but you can still find it for a not terrible price, $19.98. Olivier Guillotin made this fragrance for Jacques Fath before he became the Tom Ford whipping boy. He would eventually become the guy behind a lot of Tom Ford fragrances in the 2000s. But back in '98, he was still kind of doing what he wanted to do, whatever. He was kind of a free agent. And Olivier Guillotin designed this fragrance for Jacques Fath. And it is another tobacco fragrance, but it is tobacco, patchouli, cocoa, black currant, which is really great. The black currant note in this really hits it off. So Jacques Fath Pour L'Homme, really good wintertime, Christmassy, holiday season fragrance. And then, of course, this one's going to surprise some of you, but Club de Nuit Intense, not Man, the women's fragrance, the irregular Club de Nuit Intense. Why? Because it is a rose, amber, saffron, patchouli, oud fragrance. A lot of people say that it smells like Tom Ford Noir de Noir, and I want to say, sorta. I want to say, if it's trying to clone that fragrance, it's not really succeeding, but halfway. It's halfway there, because it has its own unique character. It doesn't really have the cocoa or the truffle note that the Noir de Noir has. It doesn't have those. It also has a different patchouli. So Noir de Noir has a very dusty, green, old school, Givenchy gentleman style patchouli, okay? Whereas the Armaf Club de Nuit Intense goes with a smoother, more chocolatey, kind of round, thick, sort of resinous kind of patchouli vibe, which I think a part of that has to do with the amber, which is not in the Tom Ford, and also the nutmeg and the cinnamon, which is, again, not in the Tom Ford either. So I think the spices and the amber is what's affecting the patchouli note and making Club de Nuit Intense woman smell a little bit different from Noir de Noir. It's a little bit smoother, a little bit richer, more vanilla. It's also a bit drier, okay? It has violet, and the violet dries it out. So the Noir de Noir is very caked up and very, gourmandy. Whereas the Club de Nuit Intense woman is not as gourmandy. It's more about the rose. The rose takes center stage. The saffron sits in the background. The other notes sit behind the rose. And then it just has a very nice, sweet, warm, rich smell that carries very well in the cold. It's just really good in the cold. Men, women, whoever. Club de Nuit Intense woman for anybody. 25, 30 bucko. Can't go wrong. So there you have it, guys. Those are my brief winter 2023 holiday recommendations. Once this channel starts back up again in January, I will do a proper winter video. And with that, I wish all of you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Festivus for the rest of us, if that's what you prefer. And this has been the On List. Thanks for 2023 and watching my channel, subscribing. See you next year. Bye-bye.